Welcome, everybody. We got the most special episode of Next Rise Tonight so far. We're here with a man who does not need an introduction, Tony Kaye. If you're into film, then you know who he is. Thank you so much for having on the show, Tony.
It was like an accident. It was accident. All of a sudden, this chap Max appeared on my phone.
It was a kidnapping.
It just seemed like I was supposed to be talking to him right in that moment. I have no idea why.
And I hope so.
Yeah, but Tony, the one thing that really freaked me out is because I've seen nearly like a lot of your work because you've done so much, but you said you've never had more than 2 months on a film of production?
Oh no, with Lake of Fire I had 18 years.
18 years, yeah, but the feature films you said
yeah,
something. I was like, what?
American Street, well, not a production. American Street X was about a 45-day shoot.
Wow.
It was an 18-day shoot. So, you know.
That's just like, wow.
Yeah.
To even come up with a completed film is just remarkable and something that stands the test of time so many years later. In American Extras case, Detachment's more new. And I still think I know, what's in your mind might be different than what's on screen, but I think it will only continue to grow as time goes on.
What?
Detachment is kind of a snapshot of the American school system.
That's
you might disagree, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the irony of the movie and the story is that the teacher, Henry Barb, does connect, does commit, but basically in the end he commits to an empty classroom that's been decimated.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a very deep narrative in that. You know, it's a huge irony. I would say that that's one of the better endings in all movies.
I would agree, and it also just resonates so much with reality because there are so many good people that are substitute teachers, but the system's so screwed up. And then it's really crazy because it seems like you're trying to say something, but you're not. You're really being an observer, and you're letting these characters kind of explode. And then, with Lake of Fire, that's why I want to talk about that, is because you really
in Detachment, I wrote this song. I never sleepwalking in a street flooding, brainwashed my confidence away, gasping for air, a demon talking inside of me, what the hell you're trying to say, begging for peace of mind in this world may seem selfish and so unfair. I just don't care. I just don't care. I have a lust for life-threatening mountains I wish to climb, and I have a hatred for the worship of all the dark time, begging for peace of mind in this world makes me selfish and so unfair. I just don't care. I just don't care. Why can't I shut my mouth? I'm always turning the truth into the studio. My yearning, burning, worn down soul has become my very own Achilles heel. Begging for peace of mind in this world makes me selfish and so unfair. I just don't care. I just don't care.
So good. Just wow. Thank you. And you had a lot.
I wrote that song kind of like early one morning as I was walking to the editing room on Detachment through New York. and that was not it was a sort of an inspired but completely you know, my problem back then in those days is I never got it right in the opening game, in the beginning game, you know, and you know, back, you know, I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, or whenever the fuck it was, when I was doing mostly TV commercials and things like that, and the occasional music video, is that, you know, David Fincher and I were kind of leading the pack in our generation. In saying that, David was already 10 years younger than me, or something like that. So he was like a one of a kind, you know, and I was very late to the game. But the thing that David got right and I didn't was that was very much my style back then. And as the years rolled by, is that he really worked everything out. You know, he worked everything out from the beginning. You know, I mean, I think that he loses out a little bit because it becomes so worked out that it becomes like a little bit. You know what I mean? It becomes a little bit. It's not spontaneous enough. But nevertheless, it's given him a career that's unparalleled. And I have I've been shot down because, you know, in the I'm standing up still, so I'm hoping to kind of come forward now again. But it, you know, with making a movie, you have all these people and you have to keep explaining. And I, you know, I learned this from watching a Fincher masterclass or something. He said something like, you know, you're not making a watercolor. You know, you're making a 90 million. Or in his case, my watercolors usually cost about $9.50. His watercolors do cost 90 million. But you know, it's not a question of getting a contract that says I don't have to listen to you. It's about you know, being able to articulate and plan what you're going to do. And as you know, Max, you're in the business. You know, you've got this podcast, but you're in the business world, and so you know you have to be. I'm sure in your own journey when you do stuff, when you're doing a deal, trying to put something together. You have to keep explaining yourself, and you have to know what's going to happen, and then people are going to give you money and allow you to play out your ideas and your thoughts within the chess game of your own zone. You know, I would think, and it's the same with movies, except I always wanted it to be like a fucking action painting, like a Jackson Pollock action painting. And I got away with murder for a long time, and then until in the end, you know, the canvases started to throw the paint at me, and I became kind of asphyxiated, and I had to take a rain check for a couple of decades. So yeah.
But it turned out you were right. Like, so, like, how does that feel to, like, kind of be vindicated by, like, kind of, because your complaints were that, like, Hollywood is kind of anti-art, and that Edward Norton's an asshole, and now everyone thinks Edward Norton's an asshole, and Hollywood.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, you know,
like, he's blacklisted right now a little bit.
Sorry?
I said he's kind of blacklisted right now, Edward Norton, where it's just kind of now at least from my perspective, it's known that he's. Well, I don't know him.
Edward Norton is a marvelous actor. He just needs to be controlled and just you know. I
mean, yeah, Kubrick and Brando couldn't work together, so.
Yeah. So it. You know, where are we?
20 years ago.
It's an airplane flying by.
Yeah.
I mean. The one thing that is very interesting to me. Kind of scary, but kind of interesting. Is that and I'm trying to figure out how to proactively go through it. Is that, you know, I've been making a documentary about American History X and what happened for many years. And, you know, I went into New Line once with a rabbi, a priest, and a monk to basically try and explain to those people that we were making a prophecy. And and they were trying to explain to me, what the fuck is going on? We're making a movie, Tony. And it needs to go out next Thursday. And I said, you know, to my rabbi, my priest, and my monk, can you answer that? And they were like looking at me, you know. And of course, I knew we were making a movie as well. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to come to America and make movies at that point. American movies. I wanted to make American movies and with American actors. And you know, but then now, with the crazy stuff that's going on, and you've got this guy, this Derek Chauvin, you know, Derek Vineyard, kind of Derek Chauvinyard. You've got this kind of neo-Nazi, and you've got this this kind of a cop. I mean, cops are amazing, and we would be sunk without them. But this guy kind of really lost the plot. And when you look at his face, and you look at Edward Norton's face as a neo-Nazi, there are striking parallels, and they both destroyed an African-American man on the road. On
the ground, yeah.
So there's this kind of like chilling thing. And yeah, and I don't know, you know, maybe I was channeling something then and onto something, and I don't know. I mean, the world is so like, worked out in a way. You know, when we're all born, we're going to be who we're going to be because where we're born, who our parents are, what the situation is. But a life like a movie can be at any point, you know, rewritten, reshot, re-edited, remade.
We're bigger than our stars. That's the Jewish belief.
Sorry?
That we're bigger than our stars, that we have destiny, but then, you know, stuff could happen. I can get hit by a car or quit, even though I'm supposed to go in some direction and I'm built whatever.
So what is that? Tell me about that again. What is that?
Like the idea that we're bigger than our star, exactly what you said, that we have a destiny, but that we still have free will, so we can go astray from where we're supposed to go.
We're bigger than our stars.
Yeah, bigger than our stars.
I love that line.
I hope you could put that in a song. Give me some royalty. Just kidding. But I'll have to get back to you. And I hope we can consider the.
I'm just going to take that line.
Yeah.
and I will. If anyone tells me that they like it, I'll mention you.
There we go. And I won't sue you.
If I make a ton of money on that song, which is kind of unlikely, but only because I'm not a recording artist, but if I maybe I could give it to like a proper recording artist. But if I make a lot of money, I will give you some. But there again, you might make a lot of money from the Max and Tony show. So then you got to give me.
Absolutely, it's a two-way street, and we got to just treat each other right. And that seems like I'm on the outside, but that seems like that's not going on too much in Hollywood.
But
People are being honorable.
What do you do? How do you earn a living?
I work in energy and gas deregulation.
And what does that mean exactly?
In America and actually in the UK, you have a choice in who you pick for your electric and gas provider. So I help businesses just negotiate for the lowest rate and pick the right provider. Like if they want more renewable sources.
The deregulation thing, what does that mean? Because I remember I worked for Enron, you know.
You worked for Enron. Yeah.
I did some commercials for them like years ago.
So they probably paid well before.
It was a big budget. Yeah, it was a big budget. And they were trying to do, it was really crazy because they were trying to do everything.
Well, that's why they got in trouble, is they ran everything in California, and then they would they would turn off the electricity to gouge people. But and in it's like 14 states. There's no like one supplier, so you have a choice of who your provider is going to be. Like cell phones, like how they deregulated the telephone towers. You can choose AT&T or Verizon. In most of America, you can choose your energy provider, and I help them do that.
I remember when I went.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember going to I think it was Houston or something like that, and I interviewed Jeff Skilling and Ken Lay, who were the principals.
It's so crazy.
You know what? I shot like interviews with them. Each was running about an hour long, and I tried to get hold of those interviews because those interviews were done at the peak of their
success.
Yeah. So
success.
So God knows what.
So you're like a really good observer. Did you kind of catch anything, or were you just kind of,
No, I just thought these guys. This is the corridor of power, and these guys are kind of like. And actually, it was crazy because I contacted them, and I got through. I got through to Ken Lay's office or Jeff Skilling's office, and I was going to set up. I wanted to set up a conversation with them. I might have spoken to one of them. I don't know if I spoke to Jeff or Ken. But I was talking to them about financing movies, and then the following day they kind of crashed. The following day it was like all over the media.
That's hopefully that was for the better too.
Yeah,
because I would hate to be in you'd hate to be in pre-production and that get that news. Producers arrested. I kind of got off track. I have to ask this question because I've read about it, but now that I have you here, I heard your plans for the original ending of American History X. If you want to talk through that.
Well,
yeah, because I've heard your ending is brilliant. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, from what I heard of your ending, it just seems just brilliant and just like so like hits the core of why people do what they do, like why they go kind of in that really dark place.
Well, what did you intuit was the ending that I wanted?
Like what I read, and the internet is a lot of fake place, is that Edward Norton is like shaving his head and becomes a skinhead again.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. See, that's why I'm glad that I have you here to correct the record.
Yeah. No, that's not.
That's good though. Yeah. So what is the real ending?
Yeah. No, that's another movie.
Yeah.
That's not an ending of that one. You wouldn't want to go on a journey like that and then end up somewhere like that and just kind of burn everything. Now my ending was that I wasn't going to show anyone what he did. So you don't see the last scene is the curb stomp scene.
Yeah.
And Nat King Cole is singing "Smile" because Nat King Cole was the first African American entertainer singer who had his own show. So if the thing is with the movie, it's kind of I think it would have been kind of dynamic to have the story of this guy, and you can see the grocery store raid, and you can see the dinner scene and the dinner scene with Elliot Gould, and you can see, the heinous things, but you don't show what he really did, and even then you can even buy into the fact that he's released from prison after 3 years, because what did he do? He robbed the grocery store. He beat up a few people. So that's a 3-year sentence. But to be released from prison for doing what he did, even though he was being attacked at the time, it was kind of it wasn't self-defense, but you know what I mean? It was a delicate,
by 8 years, 8, 10, 50, and that would even still be pushed. It usually be life.
It's a delicate thing. So basically, right at the end, that whole thing plays out. The flashback, him in bed with the girlfriend, goes outside, kills a couple of guys in self-defense, and he does that. And Nat King Cole is singing "Smile," and that's the end of the movie. So
yeah, that's better than the one I read online.
So you basically go out on Danny's reaction. That's the movie, because American History X is the American History X is Danny's paper.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. There would have been more of Danny's paper in it in the movie. There would have been stuff from websites, and I was talking about websites in 1995, which is kind of advanced in itself. That I was even going on about that. You know,
a lot of they wouldn't make it. A lot of like famous economists said that the internet would be like the fax machine and all this stuff. So yeah.
So
foreshadowing how that kind of world grows. It's all online.
Yeah. So that's you know that, and I think that would have made people think a lot more deeply about what they just seen, because it's almost like a Sixth Sense, that movie, you know, where you find out that he was really dead. It becomes more of a concept movie, that you find out what Derek Vinyard actually did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a massive, you know.
Yeah, that would like, if you would have kind of held that, like kind of keep it in your sleeve.
Yeah, you would have not stopped thinking about that movie for weeks afterwards.
Still did. still somehow managed to pull off the trick, even though.
Yeah, I mean, because it's all there. It's all there. It's just but there's a psychological, I think when anyone watches anything, and I had so much training in that sense.
Yeah.
From making TV commercials for years, is that with a commercial, you don't. It's not that you really learn how to make a movie from making a commercial. You know, you practice with cameras and with actors, actresses, and special effects, and you know, technology and all this kind of stuff. But what you really do understand making a commercial, what I understood anyway, is that you know how to intervene, how to build an intervention into what's going on at that time. Like in a commercial break, it's you know, it has to compete with all those other things. There's like a hostile audience there. You make some, you know, kind of a product orientated content that goes onto the internet, on YouTube or wherever it goes, you know, Instagram or TikTok, wherever. You know, you have to compete with all those other things. And with a movie, it's the same thing. You know, you make a story, you make a narrative, and you have to compete with all those other movies or TV shows or entertainment. Because when somebody wants to be entertained, when somebody wants to be taken out of their life, you know, they watch a movie, they listen to the radio, they watch a show on Netflix, they binge watch, they listen to some music, they go for a walk, you know, whatever it is that they do. Your movie, if you're making a 90-minute movie, one-off singular thing, it has to compete with all those other things. And the end of a story, the end of a movie, end of a book, it is what the story is. The end of the story is what the story is. And so therefore you have to I'll make a phone call. You have to
but interesting.
You know, you have to deal with that.
Like,
well, the end of the story is what the story is.
The entire message, yeah.
But whenever you get to the end of a movie, unless you have a fantastic, hey, Chris, I'm running about 30, 40, 50 minutes late. I'm leaving my house soon, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Can you do me a favor? I know this is insane. Can you send me your address again now?
Sure.
Okay, brilliant. All right, man. Bye.
So like you're thinking like 2:45, something like that.
I told you that was what time I was going to arrive.
You said 2:00.
Oh, then I'm going to be on time.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. If you can send me your address, great. All right, man. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. So, all right. So, I think we got part one, or we can talk a bit more. But I mean,
we can. But I would love to have you back, and this is such an honor. And just like,
you are recording this, right?
Yes, I've made that mistake in the past before. I've had my own technical issues.
Then I can use it in my documentary.
Of course, and no, you get all financial rights and all everything like that.
Okay.
No funny business. But
if I use your line, we're bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Then yeah. So, all right. So, what would the next subject matter be? What the end of a story? Let's have the next subject. The end of a story is what the story is.
Oh, would love to just talk about your thoughts on story structure.
Yeah, because then I can learn something as well. I'll study up on that a bit. Let's do that in about a week. All right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for being on the show. Any final words though for this episode?
Max and Tony show, part one. Part two is the end of a story is what the story is. Okay.
Thank you so much. And any final words though for this part one? Could be a song, could be a quote, a joke. You got any good jokes?
Sorry, I have my speech impediment kicked in there. Any good jokes? Let me think. There was a joke that I heard. I don't remember. I don't remember what the joke was. But I can't. Have you got a good joke? You want to end on a joke?
Why can't you trust an atom?
A what?
Why can't you trust an atom? An ATOM.
An atom.
An atom. Why can't you trust an atom?
Why?
Because they make up everything.
An atom?
Yeah, atoms. Yeah. Like the molecule. Like an atom in science, an atom.
They make up everything. Oh,
they make up everything.
Yeah.
You can't trust them. You can't trust them. But yes, that's my favorite joke these days. But Tony, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to part two.
You should write a movie called Atom.
I would love to. I'm in movies are one of my definitely favorite. I owe so much to movies that
so start writing a movie.
Done. I actually want to write one about.
It's called Atom. Okay, it's like a Pixar film or something.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I have your email, so we'll be in touch. And I'm looking forward to. Thank you so much, Tony. Have a good one.